Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Tato. Just in case you're new here, I make videos on my motherhood experience here on YouTube, so please do subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, this is such a difficult video for me to make. I don't even know where to start or even what to say, but obviously you've already seen the title of the video. I recently went through something that I didn't think that I would ever go through. I don't know, I said this also on my Instagram, because if you follow me on Instagram, I've already kind of talked about it a little bit there, that I don't know what made me think that I was invincible and this wouldn't happen to me. I just really didn't think that I'd ever be in this position. When I was going through my miscarriage, obviously, because you've seen the title, I watched a lot of videos like these ones. Like, they really helped me kind of, not only just not to feel alone and knowing that there are other people going through the same thing, but also knowing what to kind of expect with the experience, like the pain, the symptoms, the cramping, everything to expect while I'm going through it. So they were really, really helpful for me. And I felt like it was really important for me to also share my story. A lot of people on my Instagram were saying that I'm so brave for sharing my story, that, it takes a lot of courage, I'm so strong. And while I really appreciate those kind words, I really think that even those moms that don't get to share their stories, who prefer to kind of deal with what they're going through silently and privately, I think those are very brave people still, because just going through this and coming out on the other side, I think it takes a lot of strength and bravery. And I commend every single mother, every single woman who's ever had to go through something like this. So it's kind of something that people don't talk about. It's kind of a little bit taboo, especially here in Botswana. So I really hope that I can at least open up the conversation so that people are a lot more comfortable just talking about it. Another thing that I want to also say is that this video could be a little bit graphic, because I'll be talking about blood clots and all those kind of things. So if those are things that you don't want to hear or you don't want to, deal with, then definitely click out of this video, because it's only going to get even more graphic and stuff. I found out I was pregnant about 3 weeks before I had my miscarriage. I had my miscarriage when I was about 7-8 weeks pregnant. The week before I found out that I was pregnant, I was feeling really sick. I started feeling like nauseous, just sick and stuff like that. And I really didn't see nothing of it. I didn't really think I was pregnant. We were not planning to get pregnant. We were not thinking about it. So it was definitely not planned, unlike with Rue. So it was a very big surprise for both of us, myself and my partner. So yeah, I wasn't feeling really well, and a big part of me was just thinking that it was probably because, I had been feeling very overwhelmed and tired because my nanny I think I talked about this in my vlog, that my nanny had left for Zim to kind of visit family and stuff, and she's been gone since May. She just kind of left and said she would come back, and she just never came back. So I've had to really kind of step up and do a lot of things around the house, including take care of my toddler. So I had thought that maybe that was just my body crushing and just feeling like I need to slow down. I'm tired, because I was feeling really exhausted, like I was so tired. But pregnancy was the last thing on my mind. I really didn't think that I was pregnant at all. And I remember, I was feeling sick for the whole week. And that Friday, I was talking to my partner, and I was telling him, hey, I don't know why this nausea is not going anywhere. It's not going away. I'm just nauseous. I'm just so nauseous. What's going on? And then almost jokingly, I'm like, hey, what if I'm pregnant? I didn't really think that I was pregnant. I was like, what if I'm pregnant? I mean, but then I was like, it can't be you or not. We've been pretty careful. I don't think that I could be pregnant, But then the more I talked about my symptoms with him, the more I was just saying it out loud, that, hey, I'm feeling kind of this and I'm feeling kind of that, and I've been feeling this and super tired. I was like, wait a minute, these things sound really familiar. These things sound like the exact same way I felt when I was pregnant with Ru. So I was like, oh shit, I probably should take a pregnancy test. But I waited it out. I didn't take a pregnancy. This is on Friday when I was telling him, and I didn't take a pregnancy test up until Sunday because that weekend I went to visit my mom, and I just didn't want to take a pregnancy test and it being positive and me being like just in shock and crazy during the weekend while I'm with my mom. So I just wanted to like get through the weekend. On Sunday, when my partner went to pick me up at my mom's, because I had went with Ru. So he went to pick us up, and that evening I was like, you know what, can we pass by a pharmacy so that I can get like one of those cheap pregnancy tests and stuff? And I got it, and immediately when I got home I took the test. It was positive. I was surprised, but I wasn't really surprised, you know what I mean, because I had thought more about it over the weekend. I was like, oh my god, this is an actual possibility. I told my partner, and to be honest, we were both kind of in shock and really processing, and it wasn't really like the euphoric moment that we had with Ru. The next day I went and got a digital pregnancy test, the type that kind of, the clear blue one, the kind that kind of also shows you how far along you are. So yeah, that's how I kind of found out that I was pregnant. So looking back, I was very anxious. I just was a lot more anxious than I was when I was pregnant with Ru. And I just thought because maybe because I'm just a lot more aware now about the complications that can happen with pregnancy. So I just thought maybe that was it, but I couldn't help, like, even with Ru's pregnancy, like, I was so eager to tell people. I told people really early. I think immediately after I took the pregnancy test and it said positive, I had told my cousin, I told my best friend, and I had told everyone, very early before I even started showing. But this time around, I was so conscious. Then there were moments where I was so, like, I was in the middle of texting someone and trying to tell them that I'm pregnant, and I just was like, no, not yet. My head kept on just telling me that let me just go and have my first scan or ultrasound, and then like that's when I can tell people. I know it's a weird feeling, but at the back of my head I just had a bad feeling. I don't know how to explain it. Like I just, when I just think back, I don't know, there's just something was just not right, and I think deep down somewhere I just knew that I was just not meant to meet this baby. Like I didn't think that I was ever going to meet this baby. And I think it was on a Sunday. We were just hanging out, and then I started feeling a little off. I was feeling a bit cold, like kind of really cold. And then I remember just getting into the blankets and I took a nap. And then when I woke up, I woke up around the time like 5:30. We usually like watch Idols and stuff. I woke up, I went to the living room, I was sitting down, and as I was in the living room, I started feeling like, oh, something is going on. So I went to the bathroom, and then I realized that I had some bit of spotting. And that's when I was like, oh, this is weird. But I didn't really think much of it because I had read that some women do experience spotting in early pregnancy, and I thought it was weird because I had never really experienced it with Ru. But anyway, I just like, okay, I brushed it off. I put on I put on a panty liner, in fact. Like I think 15-30 minutes later, I felt like something is happening also. Then I went to the bathroom, and I found that the panty liner head was, full. And then I was like, okay, what's going on? And I told my partner, Junita, and I was like, hey, I'm spotting a little bit. I don't know what to make of it. I thought it was a bit of spotting, but now the bleeding kind of feels a little bit heavy, but I don't want to worry too much now. And I just was like, okay, let me just wear a pad and see what happens. And then I wore a pad. I didn't have any other pad. I only had those maxi pads that I used when I was postpartum with Ru. I kept on just going to the bathroom just to check the progress of the bleeding, just to make sure that everything is fine. And I'm sorry. And then like about 30 minutes later, the pad was full and the bleeding had gotten heavier. And then it was in that moment that I realized that something was definitely wrong and we had to go to the emergency room immediately. I told Junita, I was like, hey, like, this is not a good sign. I'm not supposed to be bleeding like this. And then he was like, yeah, let's get ready and go to the emergency room. So we both got ready and we left Ru. Luckily, Ru's aunt was here, so she stayed with him, and we went to the hospital. On our way there, I called my OB, and then he was like asking me what was going on, and I was like, hey, I feel like something is wrong, like I'm bleeding a lot and all this is happening. And then he was like, okay, no, rush to the emergency room, have them do a scan, and then they can better tell you what's going on. Just don't panic, you know, it's probably nothing. We got to Sidilaga here, and then when we got there, it was really packed. There was a lot of people, and then we're like, okay, it doesn't look like we're gonna get help real quick here. So then we thought of like, okay, there's a private clinic also in Broadhurst, which is open 24 hours, and we know that they have a scan there, so let's just go there. And then on our way out, just like when we were like at the door of Sidileja, like I felt something just kind of pass down there, and I stopped for a moment and I told Janita, I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom. And then we went back into the hospital, and then I went to the hospital bathroom, and and when I got to the bathroom, and I realized that I had passed like a really large clot. And that was the moment I knew that I was losing the baby. Yeah, that was the moment I just knew that there's no way that this is a good sign. I know for a fact that I'm losing the baby. This is not normal. And then I called Junita. I had my phone and I called him from outside. I was like, please come in here. And I showed him the clot, and we just both kind of, we just knew what it was, and we just cried. We bawled. I was screaming almost, like the way I was crying. I'm sure people in the hospital could hear me. It was so hard, you know. And right after that, I kind of try to pull myself together, you know, and then we left for the clinic. Actually, we didn't go straight to the clinic because we just kind of needed a moment, and then we came home for a bit, and just to pack a few things also, because also we had left so quickly, and it was pretty cold that night, so we wanted to get like maybe like a throw and maybe warmer clothes, and for me to get some more pads, because during this whole time my bleeding had gotten heavy, was getting heavier and heavier, and I was, you know, having some cramps. You know, the cramps that I was having, though, they were not like really painful. They were just like your period pain kind of cramps, you know, not really painful, not like labor. So when we got to the clinic, luckily there was like literally no one there. It was just us. So we saw the doctor. I kind of told her what was going on, all the bleeding and stuff like that, and then she was like, we have to do a scan. But there was a different guy who was, I guess, the technician who does scans and stuff, but he wasn't there, so they had to call him and we had to wait for him. So we kind of waited there for a moment while we're waiting, so many things were going through my head, and I was like, I was like, obviously, I know that I'm having a miscarriage. I just know it. There's nothing normal about all of this, but there's just this little bit of hope, that you have. You're just like, I'm hoping that the scan just tell me that it is a false alarm, that the baby's still fine. There's nothing really bad that's going on. Like, there was just a little bit of hope. So it was just a tough wait. The guy finally arrived, and then we went in for the scan, and when you just know that something is not good, like something is not all right. And I've done scans before with the room, so many of them, and usually when the baby is fine and everything is fine, they let you hear the heartbeat, they let you see the screen, and it's just like the technician is smiling, and it's just a good time, But this time around, he did the scan, and he turned the monitor away from me, and he was just kind of not saying anything. I don't know, maybe he's not allowed to say something to me. He's supposed to wait to give the results of the scan to the doctor or whatever, but I could just see in his face that something is wrong. And I just knew that if something was okay out here, a heartbeat, or he'll make me see like the little bean that you get to see when it's early pregnancy and stuff like that. But his face was just not reassuring at all. We finished doing the scan, and then we went to the waiting room for him to kind of, I guess, assess everything and put everything into words for the doctor. She called us in, and she kind of told me that I was indeed having a miscarriage, and it had just started, and right now it was still incomplete. It was an incomplete miscarriage, and I just knew, so it was whatever, I just knew. I think the hard part was the way the doctor and the technician guy were also. They were just so cold and so stiff, just so robotic, and in that moment, you're hoping somebody just kind of gives you like some reassurance, some comfort, like says like good words, like I'm sorry, but they were just so like, like there was just no warmth. And it was so difficult for me because the doctor who was attending to us was a woman, and I was thinking that maybe she would like be a lot more warmer about it and stuff. So it was just like, just not a fun experience at all, and that kind of made it really worse for me. When we left the clinic, we went back to Sidileja. We waited there for almost about an hour and a half, and it was just nothing was happening. And then we're like, you know what, let's just go home and process all this and just take a moment and a breather, and then we will see what we can do. It was really hard. We got home, it was really hard. I think we got home really late. I think it was about 2 a.m. in the morning on a Monday. It was really late, and we ended up going to sleep maybe after 3:30 or so, because we talked a little bit and cried a lot. Cried a whole lot, and we just went to bed. And so we're gonna go back to Sidileja on Monday, but then we were like, oh, you know what, we already have an appointment on Wednesday with my OB. We might as well just wait until then, right? This was actually the appointment that we were going to have our first ultrasound, and probably maybe hear the baby's heartbeat for the first time, get to see the baby for the first time. Anyway, the Wednesday came around. It was so hard, you guys. Like, I didn't think that it would hit me this hard. You're at an OB's office, right? So a lot of the women that are coming in to see him are pregnant. So it was kind of hard, being there. And knowing that I'm not pregnant, and it was really difficult. And we went in, and then I told him everything that went down, and we did a scan, and he told me that my miscarriage was still incomplete, and that there was still some pregnancy tissue that was left in my uterus, and that, you know, he wanted to give it a couple of days and see if my body cannot pass it on its own. And he gave me some pills to kind of help speed things along. You know, I wish I had seen him initially when the miscarriage was happening, because he was a lot more comforting, and he was, you know, telling me that it's not my fault, that none of this is my fault. I should not think that this is a result of something that is wrong with me, or something that is wrong with my partner, or anything like that. He was just like, these things happen. There's so many women that come in here with the same story, so don't even think that you did something wrong. And he told me that, you know, I will have a chance to have another child and a healthy pregnancy and all of that. Like, he was just really reassuring me and telling me that it's really gonna be fine, you know. And yeah, we left the doctor's appointment, and you know, I bled for a few more days after that, and he set another appointment for Monday after, like, this appointment was on Wednesday, and he set another appointment for Monday. And then on Monday, when I went to see him, I was still bleeding, but the bleeding had, you know, the flow of my bleeding has significantly dropped. There was a lot less blood, and you know, we did a scan, and then he was like, you know, I had lost most of the tissue, but there was still a little bit of pregnancy tissue in me. And then he was like, then he suggested that I get a DNC, so that we just get the tissue out. A DNC, by the way, is like a procedure where the doctor is just gonna come in and just scrape off all the remaining tissue off of your uterus. You have to go under anesthesia, and it's a very simple procedure. As far as up here, I didn't get the DNC. As far as I hear, it's very, very quick. It's a simple procedure. So he said that there's that option, and I could get the DNC, or I could wait and see if I can pass the pregnancy tissue. And then I told him that Monday, and I told him, you know what, I'll get back to you and see if I want to get this DNC. Also, I was a bit terrified. You know, I've never been under anesthesia. And the closest thing for me to having any kind of operation or anything was when I was giving birth, and I was very, very awake and alert, and felt all the pains during that. So I was a little bit scared. So I was like, okay, just give me a couple of days and see if I want to get it done. And I think on Wednesday, I went on Monday. On Wednesday, my bleeding completely stopped. I read that is a good sign, and usually it shows that you have passed all the pregnancy tissue. At this point, I'm still yet to go and see my OB again, for him to kind of do a scan to see if in fact I have passed all the tissue. If I still have the tissue, then obviously I'm gonna have to get the DNC. So yeah, that's kind of what happened, you know. A lot of videos that I've seen of a lot of women who have talked about their miscarriage story would you know, some women show the actual tissue that they passed and all of that. And for me, I saw that a lot of the tissue that I passed was kind of liver-like. There was one point where I passed like quite a big amount of blood, which was quite as big as like my palm here, you know, something like here. And also there was a time when I passed something that felt like it was really, really big, but I wasn't able to see it because it kind of dropped in the toilet while I was just sitting on the toilet. But then honestly, I didn't want to see it, because I've heard sometimes you can almost see the baby in there, and almost see the hands and the legs forming and stuff like that, and I did not want to see that. I don't think that my heart would have been able to handle that. Some women say that they find out that they are going to miscarry when they go into the doctor for an ultrasound, where the doctor just tells them that there's no heartbeat. And You know, as much as this feels so bad and it's so awful, I cannot imagine how it would have been walking into that OB's office and expecting to hear a heartbeat and them just looking at me and say there's no heartbeat. I just don't know how I would have been able to take that, and I don't know. As far as how I'm doing, I really don't know how I'm feeling. I really don't know how to explain it. I feel like a lot of people can be like, you know, maybe people who don't have kids and who've never been pregnant could be like, you know, you're only pregnant for 3 weeks. Like, why are you so butthurt about it? And 3 weeks is a long time, guys. As much as it was a shock for us and we hadn't really planned it. We were like already planning. We were already talking about names. We were at a point where we were both really excited, and I couldn't wait to be a mother of 2. You all know I love kids. Well, I love my kids. I was really excited to have another baby. I've always wanted to have babies who are close in age, and I've always wanted to have my babies young, and this was just kind of God giving me what I wanted. That's what I was feeling, you know. And for me, you know, I'm the type of person, when they get pregnant, I get pregnant. I have all the symptoms, I get all the sicknesses under the sun. So when I was pregnant for the 3 weeks that I knew that I was pregnant, I felt pregnant in every sense. I felt everything that I felt through, you know. So I was planning my whole 9 months, how I was even gonna announce that I was pregnant, all the different types of videos I'm gonna make, you know, around my pregnancy that I didn't get to make through, all the different things that I'm gonna be doing differently with my pregnancy. So it's a real loss. It's a huge loss, and it's painful. It's really painful, and I don't wish this on anyone, not even my worst enemy. I do not wish this on anyone. And if you are here and watching this video because it's something that you're going through, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry, and I'm sorry. I know exactly how you feel. I know the pain and the confusion and your feelings that you're going through right now. I just want you to know that it's not your fault. These things happen, and you know, I know right now you're just looking for answers and everything is not making sense, and I just want you to know that you're not alone. And like, however you choose to grieve and whichever route you choose to take in your grieving process, like, you are entitled to that. You deserve that. You have to do what you have to do. If it means unfollowing all of your pregnant friends, if it means unfollowing all of your friends with babies and everything like that, like, do that for your mental health. Just do it, because this is not an easy thing to go through. I know for me, I am a little bit triggered by pregnant women, you know, and it's not their fault. Like, they didn't do anything wrong. They're beautiful, they're glowing, they're happy, and they are allowed to share that. But I get a little bit triggered, you know, every time I'm at the mall, at the shops, and I see a pregnant women, you know, I can't help but feel something, you know. It doesn't feel good, you know. So I'm still a little bit triggered, but I know it'll pass, and I know that God is gonna bless me with another child, whether it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 17 more babies. I know that God is gonna bless me. So if anything, this experience has just made me love my baby boy so much. I'm so grateful for him, and I know that I'm so blessed now, you know. I look back and I look at how uncomplicated and low risk my pregnancy was with him, and I'm so grateful now, because I know that anything could have happened, you know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'm sorry I cried in this video. I really tried not to cry. But thank you so much for watching, and hopefully the next coming videos will be a lot lighter and no crying. All right, see you in the next video. Bye.